This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Good morning and welcome to INCRadio, South Central State's satellite studio. Today we are going to talk about how you can travel, whether it's domestic or international, for a very low cost. I mean, can you imagine yourself traveling to a foreign country for only about $11 for your flight? And so today I have a very special guest. I'm really excited. He's a friend of mine who I've known for a while. Guest, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Arnie, good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Francisco. I'm from California. I live in Ventura County, which is about an hour north of LA. So if you're familiar with Southern California, there's Santa Barbara, there's Los Angeles, where I live, Ventura County. It's like right in the middle of LA and Santa Barbara. It's a beach town. I'm about maybe 10, 15 minutes away from the beach though. And I've lived here for most of my life. And I am excited to be here to share with you my passion for travel and how my family travel for less or for nearly free.
And, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us because I know with our time difference, it's still fairly early there and you're wide awake.
You know me.
I do. So anyways, Jason, what I thought was really interesting was that you and I were in Thailand at the same time, but we didn't get to see each other.
Exactly. I mean, we were in Bangkok, Arnie and I, with our families, 2 or 3 weeks ago in early August or maybe late July, if I'm not mistaken. We were just like in different parts of Thailand, and because you and I, we follow each other on social media, and I see where Arnie's going, or she sees where I'm going, and finally, we were in the same country yet we didn't get to see each other. So the world is just that small.
Yeah, because like you said, you do the bougie. What do you call it?
Bougie on a budget.
Bougie on a budget. I'm just on a budget. That's okay. That's why we don't see each other.
There you go.
So
Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. So I just got to ask you this because people are going to say, well, maybe he's not paying a lot to travel because he's like me. He works in the airline industry. Do you work in the airline industry?
No, I do not. And if I can give you a little bit about my background so that everybody knows that I do have challenges when it comes to traveling. First of all, I do have a full-time job. I am married. We both have full-time jobs. Not only do we have kids, we have 4 kids. All right. Not only do we have 4 kids, but things are very expensive. 2 of our 4 kids are in college.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking tuition, car insurance, apartments. And so things are very, very expensive. Yet we are taking advantage of our expenses and turning those expenses into ways we can turn those expenses and maybe not get us cash back, but earn credit card miles and points that we can use for our future travels. So that's me in a nutshell. We just turn our regular everyday expenses that's allowing us to travel the world.
Okay, so just as an example, I know within the past just 3 days, you've
Yes.
already booked trips. So
Yes.
where are these trips to and how much did you pay and what did you use?
Okay, perfect. I know that the subject of the invite to this show is like traveling for $11. My wife and I are traveling from LA to Manila. We got word that lots of members of the family are going to the Philippines this January, February timeframe. So we booked LA to Manila for three of us, and we are flying this best airline in Japan. All right, which is, if I'm not mistaken, ranked number three in the world's best airlines. I gotta check my the internet, but the last time I checked, they were like ranked number three, and we only paid $11 from me and her. I mean, to be exact, it's $5.60 in fees for me, $5.60 for her. How? Using credit card miles and points. So the answer is no, you're not only paying $5.60, but you do have to use credit card miles and points in order to book such trip.
Okay,
And
so how do you do that though? Like, how do you actually get enough miles that you can use it for trips? What is your
absolutely.
trick?
Absolutely. In this case, and it's applying for credit cards. All right. But let me pause there for a second because depending on who you talk to, there are those who probably, even today, they're well matured, grown adults and would rather not have a credit card. I respect that. We respect that. All right. Because when people think about credit card is when you apply for a credit card, it's your gateway in going into debt. All right. I also could believe that, but that will only happen if you are not a responsible individual, if you do not pay your bills in full and on time. So
Okay.
let's take, for instance, if my daughter wanted to get a laptop from this famous fruit company, all right. Um, and so if she wants to get this laptop, which is you and I know is not very cheap. It's like 1,500 or $2,000. If your goal is to use a credit card and pay $1,500, and next month your statement comes and you only pay the minimum of 30, 40, $50, this hobby is not for you. All right. This hobby is all about discipline. If your statement comes to you the next month, you pay your bills in full and on time, and that's not everybody's way of thinking when it comes to credit cards. They would rather have the easy way out. They would rather pay less. However, by paying less, by paying the minimum, you are also going to be paying lots of interest in the long run.
Okay, so then how do you determine, like, first of all, where do you find the deals on the credit
Sure thing.
cards to get the points? And then how do you determine, um, which ones you sign up for and when? And like
Right.
how many credit cards?
Right. Exactly. Like in this particular case, this business class trip from Los Angeles with a stop in Japan that will then take us to Manila, it's 70,000 points.
Okay.
Okay, 70,000 points or 70,000 miles that we will transfer to this famous airline in America. All right.
Well, let me ask you there. So how do you, like, 70,000 points? That sounds like that's a
Exactly.
lot.
Right.
But
Right.
but how can you even get 70,000 points?
Exactly. There are credit cards today, in fact, right this very moment, with a card that you can apply for, and you can earn 75,000 bonus points. All right, by signing up for this credit card, and it's quid pro quo. The credit card company will award you the 75,000 miles or 75,000 points, but you got to do something for them.
Mm-hmm.
Many times, to get such, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example, and I think this is great. I signed up for this one credit card back in January. All right. I earned, and don't quote me on this, but let's just say 70 or 75,000 points. All right. And the card company only required Jason make one single purchase. It could be uh, a chewing gum.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, and on my Instagram handle, I posted, I bought French fries from this famous um,
Fast
restaurant,
food.
fast food restaurant, French fries. Okay, and once I made that one single purchase, this credit card company, awarded me 75,000 miles, give or take. All right. There are other credit card companies who will also award you credit card miles, but you have to spend a little more than buying French fries. Typically, Typically, a lot of these companies will require you to spend $4,000, but you're given a time frame. You don't need to do this in a week. You are given a time frame, $4,000 within 3 months. And that
Oh,
might be a shocker to many
mm-hmm.
who are not used to it. But for those of us who channel a lot of our spending by just paying cash, just paying using a debit card, or writing a check, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you change your lifestyle and just use a credit card and pay it off in full, you might be surprised you'd be able to meet that 4,000 rather easily.
So let me ask you, on a regular basis, what do you charge on these credit cards so that you're able to charge enough to get these points?
Yeah, nothing out of this world. Whether it's going to this big box warehouse store, where you shop for, things with your family. You can go to a restaurant. We go dining. We use our credit card for gasoline, for car maintenance. We use our credit card to pay our insurance bills. We The other day, when we came back from Japan the other day, we use our brand new credit card to pay for our income taxes. We're homeowners. We use our credit card to pay for our property taxes. You can use your credit card to pay for your fitness gym, your fitness center dues. And so you name it, anywhere credit cards are accepted. That's what we use it for.
So basically, your daily needs, things that you would normally, like you said, pay cash or use your debit card for, you just charge it and then you just pay it all off at the
Right.
end of the month.
Right. And especially for our viewers or our listeners who have children, or maybe they themselves are in college, for instance, we also use our credit cards to pay for their tuition. Like my two kids in college right now, Arnie, to go to a Cal State, it's about $4,000 every semester.
Yes.
All right. And again, I am not rejoicing that I am paying these bills. I'm not, right? But I guess my point here is, um, why not turn my expenses and find a way to turn those expenses and make my expenses work for me?
Exactly. So we do have a question from Romelu. He's asking, how can he fly to the Philippines on a budget so that he can go visit his family?
Okay, sure. Using my very first example, again, it's applying. You can apply for this credit card, which will earn you 70,000 or 75,000 miles. It could even be more, because these offers, they do have a shelf life. It's not always going to be 70 or 75,000. Sometimes it could be less. Sometimes it could be more, right? And so when I took advantage of this offer back in January, it was around 70 or 75,000. I made that French fries purchase. I was awarded those 70,000 miles or something. And then when word got out that the family's going to the Philippines, I think we applied for like two or three different credit cards within the family. All right, because my kids are older now, they have strong credit. All right, because I helped build their credit. So we were able to apply for those cards. And when I booked with this famous airline from America, I was able to find these three, not one, but three business class seats from this big airline in Japan. And we will be flying business class from LA to Tokyo, Tokyo to Manila. And mind you, again, it's business class, and you also get access to the first class or the business class lounge. And so you'll really, really get treated. Oh, and to our viewers who love going to the Philippines, this famous airline in Japan will allow us three luggage per person. And so that's a big deal. So with the
That
three of
is.
us, that's nine. And I don't know if we're gonna do nine, but it's a pretty big deal. And our only out of pocket, I think for this one is like $25 per person all the way to Manila. But if you only
Wow.
go to Japan, it's like $5.60 per person.
Yeah. So then we also have Byron James who wants to know because he's trying to go to Hawaii and he
Okay.
says tickets are like 1,300 for New Year's week. What can he do?
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for a very, very good question. Arnie knows me well enough. I wake up one day, I'm in Hawaii, you know,
Yes, with your 4 kids.
with my 4 kids, and Byron, we only pay $5.60 one way to Hawaii, $5.60 back. All right. So a round trip to Hawaii for us is a no-brainer anymore because we use credit card miles and points. And so there is a famous low-cost airline that's I think they're based in Texas as well. I
Yes, they
think
are. Uh-huh.
I think they're based in Texas as well, that will allow you to travel to Hawaii using credit card miles and points. That we've taken this airline many times. That will also allow us that to have a free companion pass, wherein if I'm the companion pass holder, I can bring Arnie with me for free, and all Arnie will pay, she will not have to pay using miles. All Arnie will pay is $11.20.
Okay, then why
So
haven't you been taking me when you've been going to Hawaii?
let's talk later. Right, right. So as you can see, it's really turning your passion, because I love to travel,
Hmm.
but I needed to find a way to mitigate, to address my travel needs. Arnie found a way. She works for the travel industry. All right. I work for a telecommunication industry, and I don't really get to travel as much, not internationally, at least with my job. And also to our listeners or viewers, I do not travel for work anymore. So it's not like my trips are supplemented because I am earning airline miles for my work. No, the last time I traveled for work was in 2015.
Hmm.
2015. That was the very last time I flew for work. And
So
so
then,
it's really credit card miles and points.
yeah, so I know like you said they'll have the intro where you'll get 70,000. So once the intros are done, how you keep accumulating points?
Sure. So again, this is going to shock a lot of you. All right. But especially to those who's never entertained the idea of getting a credit card. All right. with with this hobby, if I may, uh, to apply for one card may get you to Hawaii, may get you to the Philippines or to Japan that one time. But it's really trying to, how do you stay afloat? Just like your question. Well, it's going to take more than one credit card,
Hmm.
or maybe, well, if you stick with one card, you're going to need to keep spending on that card, and you're not going to easily earn 70,000 miles again if you just focus on one credit card. But I am not here to encourage you to apply for 10 credit cards. I'm not. All right. Because again, this is all about, it's a marathon, not a race.
Yeah.
Okay. You pace yourself. All right. So you might entertain, okay, you might want to ask Jason, send me a message, or join my social media group.
Hmm.
And you might want to ask Jason, and okay, what would be my next card? Here's what I have right now, and I do have a list of different credit cards, different strategies, because what works for Arnie will not work for me,
Hmm.
and might not work for you. So everyone's got a different strategy. So it's really applying for another credit card, or maybe two or three more credit cards after that, until you get more comfortable with the hobby.
Okay. So that's flying. Okay, fine. We fly for a budget, but then once we get to our destination, hotels are really expensive. So what do you do?
Absolutely. And again, there are credit cards that are airline centric, meaning
Hmm.
the points that you will earn are best for airlines. There are credit cards out there that are more flexible, wherein you can use their points for hotels, you can use their points for airlines, for rail, for car rentals.
Hmm.
And so, I have points from a certain bank that will allow me to transfer my points and it's allowed us to book. Like for instance, these 2 weeks that we spent in Singapore, in Japan, and in Bangkok, we were there for 2 weeks. We booked 2 rooms per night because there were six of us. All right, and 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 nothing wrong with a Motel 6 or anything like that, please. Nothing wrong with a little hotel like that. All right, but we stayed in a very swanky property, 4 or 5 star properties. All right, and so we stayed in 4 and 5 star properties, and we were also able to get our breakfast for free, and also our fees, any taxes and everything, even parking, if we had to use a car, those were
Mhm.
waived as well. Even the tip for our breakfast was covered by certain hotel programs.
Wow.
So it was really almost like a zero um, stay using credit card miles and points. And so, I mean, there's more to it than meets the eye, but you really just need to know which credit cards out there will allow you to transfer to a hotel or an airline or whatever travel transportation you need.
Yeah, so I do kind of the same thing, but because with the airline industry, we do get discounts on hotels. But then I've got, really nice friends who puts me on their
Right.
friends and family, right? So then now I can get a discount at those hotels. So, there are ways to do it. You just have to, be resourceful, right?
Right.
Okay, so Regine has a question for you. She just wanted to know, what's your favorite place to travel to?
Oh wow.
Because you've been to a
Um,
lot of places.
I have.
And
I can
and
tell you, if it's Asia, uh, Bali.
oh, I have not been there yet.
Okay, Bali.
What about
Uh,
Europe?
Europe. My gosh. I was not ready for this. I don't know why I was not ready for this question. Uh,
Well, while you're thinking about it, Regine did say you could adopt her and she could be your fifth child.
join the line, please. Europe. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Because I'm a budget conscious person
Hmm.
for Europe. Lisbon,
Oh, I haven't gone to Lisbon too.
Porto, because your dollars will go really far. Europe is expensive,
It
but
is.
your dollars will go really far in Portugal. But when it comes to Asia, I dream of going back to Bali. While you see all of these places on the internet, like a waterfall in Bali or these different buildings or structures and everything, for me, I enjoyed going back to the resort more because we had this room where, in the moment you step out, we had our private pool right there in our own little backyard space, and it was my birthday, and I enjoy that so much. So I dream of taking the kids to Bali.
See, I'm like, if I were to ever do a resort, I would want to do one of those over the water bungalows just to try it out. But I'm
Right.
not really a type of person who just wants to go to the beach and just relax. When I go places, it's because I want to see things or I want to do things. And so I got to get into the mindset like that. Because I know with Bali, it really is about enjoying the resort and just relaxing. So I got to get into that mindset.
Right, right. Well, it is about enjoying the resort, but there's so many things to see and do in Bali. If you do have hire a private driver, like
Hmm.
we hired somebody, and we paid, I want to say maybe $40 or $50 per day. We
Wow.
were gone 8 to 10 hours a day, and he took care of the gas and parking. It was all part of it for a
Oh,
whole day.
nice.
And so we were able to see different sites in Bali, and so it's just a matter of finding the right itinerary.
And then, so how do you get your family involved? Because I know you're not the only one spending on those credit cards. What did you do so that, you could take advantage of getting more points?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a background. I do have a large extended family. All right, over where we live, there's probably maybe 15, 20 of us. All right. There was maybe about let's say 10 years ago. I said I want all of us to go to Europe, and I can get us there using credit card miles and points. Not everybody listened right away.
Hmm.
Nancy and I, we went to London, to Budapest, to Prague, to Paris, and paid minimal. Some of them paid much more, and then I think that became like an aha moment, right? If Jason and Nancy can do this, maybe we should do it as well.
Hmm.
And so the next big challenge was to get many of us to Japan. So back in 2019, a year before the pandemic, I was able, 19 of us met in Japan. Some from London, flew to Tokyo, Manila, flew to Tokyo. 12 of us from LA flew round trip in coach, and used credit card miles and points. And so that became an eye opener. And early next year, another 12 of us are going to the Philippines using credit card miles and points. And so and my the rest of my family, they actually just booked on their own because they know the value, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so once you see, take that one trip. It could be anywhere. It could be Hawaii. It could be to New York. It could be to DC, whatever. Take that one trip and see how possible it is. And that so that was one way I got my family involved. But they knew that there's work to do. They needed to apply for more than one credit card to help supplement future trips.
Okay. So Oliver has a question, and he says, what are things to avoid when flying or traveling abroad to avoid the hassles of traveling?
Here we go. Arnie knows me for this.
Carry
One
on.
has yes. Arnie, say it. What is it? Because you
You're
know
the
me so
carry on family. You're the carry on. All you guys do is take carry ons.
carry on. Here we go. Um, if you follow me on this famous social media group, we are Team Carry On. What does that mean? All right, we are just we don't check any big luggage or big boxes when we're traveling. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. If it's a pleasure trip, like to me, again, guys, 2 weeks. We were in Japan, Bangkok, and Singapore for 2 weeks. There were six of us, six carry-on bags, six backpacks. All right, and the reason why I say that, um, know where you're going, and you and I know that, especially with this last trip, we know that we're not really going to a place where there's not going to be any kind of laundry technology.
Hmm.
Right. And so we knew there was going to be laundry service. We knew that push comes to shove, we can wash our own clothes. I mean, really, it's not rocket science. You can really hand wash your own clothes.
Yeah.
Right. And so we are just Team Carry On. And why does that matter? You save. Well, first of all, it's not so much about, oh, because Jason and family do not want to pay the airline. No, with the airlines that we flew, they allowed us to bring all of these big luggage. No, that's not the case. Um, but we want to get in and out of the airport.
Hmm.
When your team carry on, you don't need to check your luggage in. When you deplane, you can leave with the luggage and be on your merry way. You skip baggage claim, right? And also when you go to places like Europe, New York City, Japan, Singapore, Bangkok, when you're hustling between different train stations, it's going to be a pain to have to carry big, like one big luggage or two big luggage. And
Yeah.
so it's all about convenience. So that's one of my big tips.
And also because, as much as sometimes things happen. And when you check in a bag, it may not come out on the other end, right?
Right. Yeah, it's happened to me. When we went to Iceland, we paid $99. By the way, when we went to Iceland from LA, it was a cheap, low cost budget airline. We paid $99. And that story actually got me into this famous New York newspaper. All right, So I was featured in a famous New York newspaper. But and so again, it's all about convenience. I also want to add one more tip, Arnie.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you. Maybe my turn to ask you.
Go
So when you
ahead.
yeah, there you go. I'll put you on the spot. When you travel internationally, how do you handle having to use cash when you travel for foreign money?
So it depends because like there's some places when you go international, they take cards anyways. And so I will use the card. But like in Bangkok, where a lot of places only took cash, then I would just have my cash with me hidden somewhere and then do exchanges once I get to that country. Like I don't ever exchange at the airport and I don't ever exchange here. Or if I had a bank that doesn't charge for international fees, then I would use the ATMs and withdraw the cash there because the conversion rate is pretty good when you do it that way.
Good, perfect. I mean, I like the things that I heard. Definitely use a credit card. Well, again, not every credit card. I want you to our viewers and listeners, please review your credit card and check if it's a no foreign transaction fee credit
Mhm.
card. All right, because you might think, well, it's only charging 3%, but every time you swipe that card, it adds up.
Yes.
All right. When it comes to cash, my family, we used to, like, we would go to a popular US bank. We would give them, let's say, $1,000, give us foreign currency money for this particular country that we're going to, whether it's euros or liras or whatever. We don't do that anymore. Just like what Arnie mentioned, we do have not one, but two or three debit cards. We've got like different accounts set up because when you use a local ATM, the moment you land, I have yet to land at a country with no ATM.
Yeah.
I have yet to. I don't want to, but I have yet to. But the moment we land, we just take out money, but not cash for the entire trip.
Mm-hmm.
You only take out, you know what, I'm going to need, let's say, I don't know, 100 euros the next couple of days, and then not be charged any foreign transaction fee. So that's another tip, another money saving tip.
I have a question.
Yes,
Nathan here, the tech running the cameras, but I wanted to know, like, with your family, when you proposed this, did you have any resistance? Did you have to kind of sell it in any way?
I did. And one of the biggest resistance is here we go, it's gonna hurt my credit, my stellar credit. All right. We're all grown adults in my family. Um, at the time we've got homeowners, we've got nephews and nieces who were about to get married, and so protecting their credit. And so I can tell you, I won't shock you with the number of credit cards I have, but and again, but with the numerous credit cards my wife and I have, our credit is nearly perfect. We're in the 800s. All right. So I think another assumption is it's going to hurt your credit when you apply for credit cards. It's going to hurt your credit if you do not take care of your bills, if you do not pay for your for the money that you owe timely. All right. It's going to hurt your credit if you cancel your oldest credit card with the longest history. Another thing that they didn't want to do is, well, I know that I'm going to get miles and points from this particular credit card company, but what about the annual fee? All
Mm-hmm.
right. And I'll keep this plain and simple. There are credit cards with zero annual fee. All right. And there are credit cards with annual fee, and they begin at like $95 a year or whatnot. And I say this: you got to pay to play.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There are things that you have to pay for, but trust me, that $95 that you might think, oh my gosh, that's $95. But when you remember that credit card where I bought French fries?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I only bought that one little French fry, and I think the annual fee is about 95 or 90 or $99.
Yeah.
But look, that French fries at that $99 got me a one-way business class ticket from LA to Manila, and the value of that ticket is $3,400.
See, and that's the good thing is because, you know, when you're flying long distance like that, it is not fun being in coach. And so
Right.
being able to sit in business, I mean, I know what it's like because if I'm not going to be in business, I'm not going because it's not comfortable. So
Right. And so again, Nate asked a very very good question. You need to see what's the saying? You need to see the forest, the trees for the forest, or the forest for the trees. You need to see beyond what's in front of you. I mean,
yeah,
because what's in front of you is, oh my gosh, I've got $4,000 of minimum spend to meet in the next 3 months. Oh my goodness, I've got a $95 annual fee, and I get that. But once you meet that, you as long as you know how to use those credit card miles and points, it could really pay you back tenfold.
yeah. So Nate, do you want to say hello to our listeners out there?
Absolutely. Ooh, we got a lot of them, especially from Baton Rouge. We got flooded by Baton Rouge. It's flooding down in Baton Rouge, is the way you could say it. But we did have Oliver joining us, Leia, Renz, of course, Jane, and many others. I was trying to keep up with them in the chat, like greeting them all
I saw that.
individually. But I wanted to get to some interesting comments that I saw. You got a greeting from Mark Hargis. I guess he remembers you from Oxnard.
Yes. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, he
Where's
said you.
Mark now?
He's in Baton
Oh,
Rouge.
he is Baton Rouge. Okay.
Oh my
Yep. You
gosh.
have to take a $2 flight to Baton Rouge. But yeah, we got lots of greetings. Let me see. Yeah, there was a whole bunch from hashtag Baton Rouge NOLA. Have you been to New Orleans, by the way?
Have been to New Orleans, and that was our jump off point before we went on a cruise with this cruise line with a mouse. So again, we use credit card miles and points to fly there, to fly back, and while we did not use credit card miles and points for the actual cruise itself, but we took advantage of a buy one get one free offer, and this mouse cruise line is not cheap.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. It's
I love
expensive.
the mouse, but I still have not gone on their cruise.
But that was the only way that you could get me to ride with the mouse. As long as we got buy one get one free.
But yeah, we also got a comment from JR Manahan saying this is very good information and he thanks you. We had Regine. She says she would like to go to Portugal.
Okay.
So let's see. Jenica says she loves to travel and learn from different cultures. Gerald saying for $11 he would fly to Florida. Let's see.
We
had
can
a
get
lot of.
you in Florida.
Then we also had Brother Oliver saying if he could fly for $11, he would fly to Jerusalem. You've been to Jerusalem.
I have, and Jerusalem is one of my favorite places to go.
And he also says he used to fly once or twice a month when he was in Chicago. He had a lot of points, but COVID came and the points had expired on him. And then we had Romelu saying that credit card companies after this, and he has a little stock market emoji going up. Although they might be going down if too many people take advantage of this, right? But yeah, we had lots of greetings also from the Philippines. We had several greetings from there. So yeah, it was very, very difficult to keep up. So I need to up my game in keeping up with the live chat. But I've been greeting everybody throughout the show.
Thank you.
Fredgie says she loves traveling. She learns different cultures and makes great memories. And let's see. JR says you can usually save money by selecting the local currency.
Yeah. When you're in a foreign, like in Bangkok, when you use your credit card, they're going to ask you, do you want to pay in dollars or in bahts? You want to use whatever the local currency is because the exchange rate is much better than if you were doing it. So
Absolutely. Good tip. Very good tip.
yeah. So, anyways, we are coming to the end of our show. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And the one thing that's great about Jason is if you guys have questions on anything to do with traveling, he's really great at giving you tips. So, if I wanted to follow you, are you like on Facebook or Instagram?
Yes, I am. On Instagram, I am at Daddy Travels Miles. All right. And then on Facebook, Daddy Travels Miles and Points. Again, Daddy Travels Miles on Instagram, and then Daddy Travels Miles and Points on Facebook. I've got a thriving community on Facebook with over 9,400 followers right now. Very engaged, very funny. The group is very wholesome. I am the administrator, and I try to keep it at bay, making sure that we keep it wholesome, and we keep it real, because I'm not one. I mean, as much as Arnie and I talked about business class or first class, Arnie, really, at the end of the day, we just want to travel.
Exactly.
That's really it, guys. We just want to travel, and if we can bring ourselves and our families along with us, that's really my joy, is sharing my passion with my family, with my friends, with my followers, and allow them to travel the world for less or for nearly free.
All right. So if you guys have additional questions, go ahead, reach out to Jason. Like I said, he's very friendly. He will answer your questions. And so with that coming to an end, we just want to go ahead and say thank you to our CFO coordinator and SEBC president, Brother Angelo Arano Manalo, and of course to our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you once again for joining us, and we'll see you all next week, same time, 9 o'clock.
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.